580's trading on them and outright 5 half bidding on them at 580, 5 half bid. Five happening out for you with local here, guys. Once again, I'm an outright 5 happening out for you, guys. 65 happening on them at 580. Again, chopping it up here now. 5 happening on them at 580 here, guys. Kind of a grind today with very little conviction. 5 out to each trade. 520 bidding out for you. 520 bidding out for you. 520 bidding on them at 5 half. 520 bidding out for you, 520 bidding out once again, 520 bidding on them at 5 half. We are 520 bidding out for you, 520 bidding on them at 580. 5 half bidding out for you guys, 5 half bidding on them at 580. We are 5 half bidding out once again, half bidding on them at 580 with the 570s trading, 5 half bid. 5 half bidding on them at 580. We are 5 half bidding out for you guys. 65 half bidding on them at 580. We are 65 half bid. 5 half bidding out for you once again. 5 half bidding on them at 580 with local here now, guys. 65 half bidding out for you once again. 5 half 580 still. Bit of a chop. 65 half bid. 5 half bidding on them at 580 once again. A bit of a chop trading on now. 65 half bidding on them at 580 here, guys. We are half bid at 80. 5 half bidding on now for you with local. That's right. 65 half bidding out. We're local here, guys. Again, 65 half bidding on them at 580. 5 happening out for you, a local with a bit of a chop here now. Again, kind of a thin trade. Papers at 580 here. We are 5 half bidding on them at 580. Alrighty, guys, we are 65 half bid at 80, and I'm inside of a minute here now. Once again, talking inside of 1 minute here now. We are inside of a minute. 5 happening here now for you guys. 5 happening on them at 580 here, guys. We are 5 half bidding on them at 580. 5 half bid. 5 happening out for you guys. 570s trade, 80s trade here now. Locals are doing some buying here now. Shy Corp sell side here. 5 half bidding on them at 580. 560s to trade down out, 560s to trade down out, 560s to trade, 5 halves trade, paper selling, 520 bidding out, paper here now doing some selling there, guys. 520 bidding on them at 580 with the 5 halves trading on out, 520 bidding on them at 580. We are closed. That's right, guys. That sound of the bell in the background, ladies and gentlemen, there now. That is the clothing bell here now once again. If you heard that bell, ladies and gentlemen, or if you heard me talking about clothes, that's right, guys. We are closed in a big way.
All right, I think that's enough of Ben. Thank you for that, Ben. Appreciate the closing call. I am trying to log into the Benzinga system now for the last 5 minutes. It's not letting me in. So I see the eBay news came out already. Looks like we are at 70 cents versus 69 cents. Revenues at $4 billion versus 3.966 estimate. Here we spiked down to $51 and now pushing back up over 52 and just about 52.5 now. So we'll see what the details are on that in just a few moments. And as you guys can see, I put some contact information on the bottom of the video for you guys if you need to reach out to me, you want to drop me a note, send me an email, spam, my address, knock yourselves out. I put it all out there for you and appreciate the comments, good or bad. Thank you very much. So we're sitting here at the close of the day. ES, of course, closing up 50 cents on the day. A lot of back and forth. Looks like we hit a high of 1469 on the day and pulled off of that into the close. Currently sitting below the averages, and a little bit of volume there at the end of the day. So here's eBay coming in at a Q1 EPS of 60 to 62 cents versus the analyst of 63 cents. They're looking at sales to be of 3.65 billion versus 3.8 billion estimate. So this is Briguy After Hours here on DayTradingRadio.com. I'm going to just ask you guys to bear with me. It's a new concept here that we're trying to put out there for you guys, and hopefully come out with some information that's useful and beneficial for your trading day. And as part of that is going to be a little bit of adjustments as we get used to looking at a different screen, and me getting used to what you guys are looking for. And I've already gotten some comments about the size of the fonts and whatnot, and there's only so much I can adjust.
Phase 3 RNS study says the trial did not meet its primary endpoint. Ticker Alpha Mike Golf November.
Alpha Mike Golf November, that's Amgen. I don't see any text on that yet, so I can't comment on that. And if you guys want to send me a private message, some comments, some questions, we will do the best to address that. And here's some digging going on, so now I got to figure out which one of these rooms you guys are maybe talking to me. But that'll be alright. Had some notice early from Citigroup. Looks like they're going to pay a 1 cent quarterly dividend. A 1 cent quarterly dividend. So eBay trading between the ranges here. Spiked down to 51 1 minute and up to 54 the next minute. We got any weekly options that just happen to be within that range? I know they don't expire today, but it seems like somebody's squeezing somebody out, right? Greenstream, thank you for the suggestion. And the issue with that is I can only get either the pit noise or Benzinga, but not both.
eBay shares trading.
Which way?
The lows now, $52.60. Down about 30 cents after hours.
All right. Thank you. So that's Mr. Land there. So we'll have some adjustments, and I appreciate if you guys can bear with us while we make these adjustments. We got a little bit of ideas on some names for the show. We talked about that a little earlier today. If you guys feel passionate enough about it, then you can let me know, and we'll toy around with some ideas. Getting some comments from Rock and Doe about plays off of eBay, suggesting MELI. Let's see what they're doing. Did I read that right? MELI? Not sure why that would be pin action there. Not a whole lot going on. Excellent suggestion, Big Jim. But we do have this news coming in. So, but I will do that. Let's bring up a tune. Let's get my app up. Learjet, I need you to get me a logo for that, and then we'll start running with it. Yes, you do. I thought we'd get some more news here after the hours, but it just didn't happen that way. So we're going to take a look at the earnings that came out this evening, as well as maybe we'll take a look at the ones that came out earlier this morning. JP Morgan, of course, and a report came out recently as well in the last hour or so about Jamie Dimon taking a pay cut last year due to that $6 billion debacle from last year. You might remember that. So we might have to start a little chip in for Jamie Dimon. See if he can hang on. So let's get situated here. Now that we're logged in. Briguy's After Hours. It's 4:22 Eastern Time. January 16th, 2013. Let's enjoy some tunes.
You got the cool water when the fever runs high. You got the look of love light in your eyes, and I was in crazy motion till you calmed me down. It took a little time, but you calmed me down. When something goes wrong, I'm the first to admit it. First to admit it, and the last one to know. When something goes right, oh, it's likely to lose me. It's apt to confuse me. It's such an unusual sight. Oh, I can't get used to something so right, something so right. They got a wall in China, it's 1,000 miles long. To keep out the foreigners, they made it strong. And I got a wall around me that you can't even see. It took a little time get next to me. When something goes wrong, I'm the first to admit it. I'm the first to admit it. The last one to know. When something goes right, oh, it's likely to lose me. It's apt to confuse me, because it's such an unusual sight. Oh, I swear can't get used to something so right, something so right. Some people never say the words I love you. It's not their style to be so bold. Some people never say those words I love you. But like a child, they're longing to be told. Something goes wrong, I'm the first to admit it. The first to admit it, and the last one to know. When something goes right, oh, it's likely to lose me. It's apt to confuse me, because it's such an unusual sight. I swear I can't get used to something so right, something so right. Mm-hmm.
€839 million loan tranche for Portugal.
Okay, that was the IMF fund, approving a loan plan for Portugal there. And that was Paul Simon, doing something right. So we'll see if we can do something right here in the after hours show. So eBay, he kind of just right back into the range after that extreme, reporting at, what did we say, 60 cents to 62 cents versus 63 cent estimate. That's going forward. Their Q4 report was for 70 cents versus 69 estimate. Revenue of $4 billion versus $3.97 billion estimate. So beating by a penny. It says EPS is up 17% from the same quarter last year. Revenue came in at $4 billion. As we just said, sales up 18% over year. So we talked a little bit earlier about eBay and, of course, PayPal being a component of that. And we'll find out from the earnings call if they happen to hint at anything to make the traders nervous. Otherwise, we're trading about 28 cents below the close, which was up 39.5 cents on the day, so really not much of a change overall. So let's go through some of the news items here. Besides eBay, we had Nautilus, NLS, Nautilus. That would be November Lima. I'm trying to remember what the S is. Nautilus reports Q4 preliminary sales of 65 million versus 62.28 estimate. They see their Q4 from continuing operations to be between 21-23 cents versus a 19 cent estimate. That's Nautilus. NLS. CBS here after hours with a report. Charlie Bravo Samson. Had it on my screen and now it disappeared on me. Begins conversion of Outdoor America's unit into a REIT to pursue divesting Asian and European outdoor segments. So that could be interesting. CBS. A lot of people don't realize that that brand name CBS, they actually own a lot of outdoor billboards. Thank you, Big Jim. Something tells me the chart that I looked at had a different name. Sierra. I think it was Sierra. But of course there are different ways to do the call sign, so not going to hold anybody to anything in particular. So here's the news item. CBS today announced a pair of strategic initiatives regarding its CBS Outdoor operating segment, which is comprised of two businesses, one in the Americas and the other in Europe and Asia. For the Outdoor Americas division, the company has begun the process of converting the business into a real estate investment trust. So for now, it seems like that would come out under the umbrella of CBS, but we'll see if that ends up becoming a separate entity if they choose to do it that way. Let me lower the volumes of the bot got here in the background. Of course, the market just getting ready to open again in the futures market. The ES market good for another 45 minutes on the session if you want to check that out. Let's see what the markets did for the day. The Dow Jones Industrial Average finishing down 0.17% at 13,511.23. We have the SPX cash market finishing up 0.2% at 1472.63. And the NASDAQ finishing up 0.22% at 3117.54. So a little bit of divergence, you can say, on the indices, with the Dow Jones being down and the SPX just about flat and the NASDAQ up a hair. So this leaves a little bit of interest into what the reason is for the money moving from the one side to the other. The Russell also down, the Russell Index, and that is down 0.25% to 882.31. Looking at some of the futures contracts, we have the ES, of course. We just noted earlier it was up a quarter on the session and continuing to trade now just about flat. So you can keep an eye on that on the screen. That's the March contract, I believe. Yeah. Then we've got gold, which is trading on the G3. I believe that's the February contract. And gold was down $4 today at 1679.9, down 0.25%. Oil, however, up almost a full percentage point at 94.19. Copper down 0.5 percentage point at $3.6165. The NQs are up 0.5 percentage to 27.27 and like gold, silver also down about 0.17%, 31.475, and the TF futures down 0.33%. The Dow futures down 0.18%. And you know what I don't have on here, and maybe I'll add to it, is the 6E. I know some of you guys trade the 6E, and that's down 0.07% to 1.3295. So let's see what other news came floating in here. I don't hear Mr. Land calling anything out. I guess not a whole lot happening, but we've got a report here from Liquidity Services. That's LQDT, Liquidity Services, leading online auction marketplace for surplus and salvage assets, announced today preliminary gross merchandise volume results for its first quarter and is reaffirming guidance for adjusted EBITDA and adjusted diluted earnings per share. So their Q1 volume guidance is at $234 million, below the prior range, and they reaffirm their Q1 outlook for EPS. Here's that report on Citigroup again, declaring that quarterly dividend of 1 cent a share, and that'll be payable on February 22nd to shareholders of record on February 4. So if you want to get in on that, start buying up some Citibank shares. Get yourself a whole penny. That'll be worth putting the money in the stock, right? Here's that report from earlier today. I believe this was the Beige Book report. The Federal Reserve said the U.S. economy is continuing to expand at a modest or moderate clip, according to its anecdotal Beige Book report. However, the central bank notes that while holiday spending was higher in 2012 than 2011, it likely came in below expectations as consumers continued spending cautiously and amid ongoing fiscal uncertainty. That uncertainty also affected hiring in the defense sector, according to the report. So that was about 2:13 p.m. And I think if we go back on the markets here to 2:30, that's right where we were hitting those highs. So we can thank the Fed for coming out with that news at the oh-so-sweet time. I saw Johnny had CHK on the screen. I don't know if you had that up there.
The company announces conversion of their outdoor unit into a REIT.
I don't know. We're getting half a report here from Mr. Land. So I don't see a whole lot of other news coming across. Something I did hear on the radio, and I just don't have the exact report in front of me, is what's going on with Boeing. Let me take a look at their stock after hours.
EBAY, eBay $53.30, up 40 cents now after hours. Echo Bravo Alpha Yankee $53.30.
So Boeing having a nice little run here into the close. And this is after a report about their Dreamliners being grounded. Let me see if I can get the news right here and see if this gives me what I'm looking for. Chile's LATAM Airlines Group said Wednesday it's regularly inspecting the operational systems of its 3 Boeing 787 Dreamliners and routinely maintaining the jets, the company spokeswoman said Wednesday, following voluntary groundings of the aircraft in Japan. Boeing is struggling with its flagship Dreamliner after Japan's 2 main airlines suspended service on the 787s following several incidents that raised concerns about the jet's safety. Earlier Wednesday, a 787 operated by All Nippon Airways Company made an emergency landing in western Japan, prompting the jet's grounding by ANA and Japan Airlines Company, and an expanded investigation. In the U.S., air safety regulators launched a probe of the 787 program last week. So, Boeing down 3 1/3% on the day, and yet looks like going into the close, we seem to have rallied about looks like a good 40 cents or so into the close. So we'll see how that carries on till tomorrow. All the nervousness goes away. Let's see what the eBay news items are here. See if they can give me some details on eBay. Firming off a brief early after hours low of 51 and trading modestly into the green. We saw that. We saw what they reported, their full year guidance. The street is at, forget the street. For full year 2013, the company guides for revenue of $16 to $16.5 billion, with an earnings per share of $2.70 to $2.75 per share. That's in line with the street. So, not bad. I found myself using eBay more lately. I don't know how that happened, but had an account for 1 million years ago, and a lot of people think eBay is about buying and selling knickknacks, and it's not. There's actually a lot of legitimate businesses that will use eBay to sell off extra stock just to clear the shelf. Then you got a lot of entrepreneurs that go out there and they buy up old stock from a store, maybe went out of business, or maybe they're moving, having a big sale. I bought some, if you can believe it, windshield wiper blades. In fact, my wife Subaru has 2 different sized blades for her windshield, and the one guy I was buying them from the cheapest price for a Rain-X blade. Normally, at my local AutoZone, is going to cost me about $25 for a blade, and on eBay, there's a guy selling it for $9.99 with free shipping. Sounds like it's a gimmick, right? Well, I gave it a shot. Reached out to him, asked him if he had the other size as well. He did not, so I had to pay $14.99 from a second guy. And the first guy, the cheaper guy, actually put it in a plastic sleeve and mailed it. Cost him probably a couple dollars. So I don't know how he made money. PayPal's going to take their cut. eBay's going to take their cut. I'm only paying $9.99. And then the second guy actually took the Rain-X plastic packaging, the way you see it in the store, and attached a label right to that and mailed it. Didn't even stick it in anything. And I got it just as easily. Not crushed or anything. All the original packaging with the original taping, I could tell. Had the original tape on it. And stolen property. Yeah, I guess there's guys that put stolen property out there, but I don't know. For windshield wiper blades, Is it really worth the effort, taking it down to the post office and all? Now, if you're talking about, knockoff clothing or jewelry or bags or something like that, that's kind of easy enough to do. But there's plenty of stuff on Canal Street, New York, to get some stolen stuff too. And I doubt they took the wiper blades off your car and put it in packaging and then send it to me. But if they did, I'm sorry. I had no way of knowing. All right, I'm getting a call on my phone, but not on my computer. So, if you can just bear with me, Mr. RPM. The computer's catching up with itself. I think we're getting it. I don't know why we have such a delay. I'm clicking the button. Hang in there. Gee, thanks for that. So already I'm missing the music. I don't know about you, but
yeah, I'm missing the music too. What's wrong?
Well, I'm happy to do this, and I'm realizing how disorganized I am once I came online. That's why I had one of the titles I had was going to be On the Fly with Briguy, but man, I just feel like I'm letting everybody down a little bit here.
No, you're getting into the groove here. Everything's great. I just talked to Johnny. He thinks you're doing a great job.
I appreciate that.
I was talking to Trade for Pay, and he wants to do some sort of show next week. So can you guys coordinate? Just make sure you're not going to run over him or he's not going to run over you or whatever. And I want him to have some time on there.
Absolutely. Not a problem at all.
On eBay. I buy something on eBay almost every day. I mean, I buy like just adapters and stuff, HDMI cables. I buy HDMI cables. I buy video cards. I mean, I just bought a welding, the clamp for my welder, the ground clamp, it's like a jumper cable clamp,
Okay.
I ran over it with the forklift and smashed it flat. It's just funny looking. It's completely flat, and I went to the welding store and they wanted $38 for one. And I'm like, what? I can go buy, a pair of jumper cables at Walmart and just take the end off and use that,
Right.
So I looked on eBay and I got this really, really awesome one that looks kind of like this weird clamshell, and I got a magnet one too, so you don't even have to clamp. You just take the magnet and go bam, just slap it on whatever it is that you're welding. And I got to two of them completely shipped for like $30. So I got two different kinds. It's just about anything that you can imagine. I mean, there's Bill C talking about high capacity magazines for your assault rifles. Well, you don't find a whole lot of those on there anymore because everybody's already sold them. But I bought some Magpul magazines from AR-15, the 30-round magazines, back about 3 months ago. I bought 30 of them on there for $7.20 a piece, free shipping and handling. I mean, these aren't like bidding on a bunch of used stuff. Majority of eBay is brand new items that are listed as buy it now, So that's the cool thing. It's a store, and the cool thing is it's like walking into a shopping mall, and inside the shopping mall there's literally hundreds of thousands of stores, and a lot of them are selling the same stuff side by side from each other, and they compete. So they often are constantly adjusting their prices because they know people are going to sort by price. Mm-hmm. When they do a search for something, Right. So they're competitive. They're very competitive in prices, So,
and yet you'll find things that are just not. They're just, for whatever reason. I'm trying to think what I was looking at recently, and yet the price of it, even with the shipping, I could just go down to the local store, and in those cases, sometimes, the sales tax issue aside. When it comes to returnability, if you're spending $300 or $400 on something, maybe you want to go pay an extra $10 and pick it up locally. But if you're buying something for $5-10 and you're getting it for free shipping, and time isn't an issue.
Yeah, but if you're buying it locally, you're probably paying sales tax on a $300 item. That's going to factor in as well.
Yeah, but if it's costing me $290 on eBay and I can pick it up for $300 plus tax, I'd rather do that. That's just my personality, because I know I can return
if you want it right then, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I get it. I get that.
It depends on what it is.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, a lot of stuff it'll never. Some stuff that I buy, it'll never break. I'll never return it anyways. It's I don't know. Let me think of some of the. I'll run through some of the stuff that I recently bought. By the way, the 30-round magazines are going for $150 a piece. Ever since this.
Is that a good price?
No, I mean they're usually 10.
Wow.
Yeah, but anyways, off the gun topic. Look here. I'll give you an idea of some of the things that I bought.
Now,
hang on,
first of all, 58 cents.
Hang on a minute.
79 cents.
Yeah.
Echo Bravo Alpha
I don't
Yankee.
have you routed into the.
Hitting new highs now. Up 1.5%
No, I was going
after
to.
hours.
People aren't listening to me.
No, Mr. Lamb was talking. I don't have a way of routing you into the line like he.
Oh no,
John
that's
does,
okay.
But,
That's good.
But yeah, I was just thinking. I had a situation. I have a client that was looking to upgrade their QuickBooks software and getting it directly from QuickBooks. The particular version they were looking at, something like $315.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Then you go to Costco. They got the same thing from their website for $290. All right, so it's cheaper from Costco. Then you go on eBay, and you get somebody selling it for $200. And it's brand new. It's the CD it's the original packaging,
Right.
sealed, taped up. They guarantee the serial number works. I mean, I even emailed the guy ahead of time. I was like, how the heck are you have this $113 cheaper than the company directly? And he's like, I deal in volume.
Right.
And
there's a lot of stores that have eBay stores as well.
Right.
So
yeah, even believe it or not, QuickBooks has, or Intuit
That's what I'm
has
saying.
an eBay store.
people think it's like an auction site. That like 75% of the sales on there are just buy it now purchases.
Right.
And you
Yeah, I mean there are plenty of auction stuff. If you want to fool around with that, you can do that.
if you think about it, where else can you like search for an item that you're interested in and see 50 retailers listed by price, highest to lowest or lowest to highest, free shipping or not or whatever, and reviews,
Yeah.
and see a list like that, of all those stores competing against each other.
Well, there is an answer to that question. And Captain Trader has it.
Yeah,
It's,
Amazon, same
Amazon.
thing. Same deal. So that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's the same kind of idea. Very easy to buy stuff. The thing is, you can also do the auction side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But is Amazon really easy to sell your stuff on? Because I just sold a whole bunch of tools and stuff on eBay. Can you sell your stuff on
that? I don't know. I know you'd have to set up as a channel partner or something. And a store. Doesn't take long to get set up with eBay. They're constantly offering free listings too, because they want you to.
Yeah, but if you see something on eBay, and you like the price, and you look over there, and they've got 4,000 reviews, and they're 100%. And you read the reviews, and they all look good. Chances are you're probably going to get a good deal. It's not going to go wrong. Occasionally, I've had somebody, what happens with eBay accounts is they get hacked, and they get, they harvest a username and password off of a seller's account from a computer. They go in and they steal basically an old eBay account that might have 10 reviews and they're all positive, and they'll list something on there at a really good price, and the bids go up on it. The guy collects the money and he never ships the item, and then turn out it's just completely fraudulent.
Right.
But I've had that happen to me. We bought a baby stroller and it pissed me off bad. But Amazon is like that too. So, I don't know. I just find myself buying it. So it's very convenient too with PayPal linked into your eBay account. I mean, I literally buy a couple of things, every day.
Yeah.
Off of eBay, and usually I can find it just to get a price, if not cheaper than any of the retails, the internet retail stores.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is it's hit and miss on the sellers that you pick. If you find one seller that you use over and over and over again, you can save them and say, okay, well, I buy cables from this guy, this company. They always done a good job. and I'll save this as a favorite seller, and I'll always buy from them. And then it's just, you might as well it's just like picking a website somewhere that you really like, so that's the same type of deal. But it's a great, as far as the eBay stock, the PayPal element of that is what I love. PayPal's awesome. But anyway,
because they're getting money off the seller and the buyer when they.
Yeah, and the largest payment processor in the world too. I mean, they process more payments than any two credit card companies combined. The biggest, Authorized.net and all that, it's because they're like this hub of all the payments going in and out in all different directions and stuff. And there's more and more retailers are taking PayPal nowadays. You can even go to, I think Sam's Club even takes PayPal now. I don't mean like a PayPal debit card. Of course, the debit card will work anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, you type in your PayPal email address. It's weird.
Yeah, I think Walmart as well, which is part of Sam's Club, or vice versa.
Vice versa, yeah. But anyways, doing a good job.
All right, RPM, thank you for the support, as always.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to Joel, and we'll work something out with him.
Remember, what doesn't kill you only makes you weaker. See ya.
All right. Thanks for that. I'm going to hope he hangs up, because I don't even know where to find a button here. There it goes. Okay. So I got a little chart here that I got from one of my newsletters. I don't mean to cover up the charts while we take a look at it. See if we could leave oh, I know what I could do. I'll click that. I should put eBay up in front here and move that down. So what we're looking at here is a comparison of the Dow Jones Industrial Average versus the transports. And the point of the article that this came with, I should give some credit to Mr. David Wilson of Bloomberg. Try to get him on the air, actually, but it's a little hard to get some of these guys because they're contractually hooked in with some other services. So I hope he doesn't get me in trouble for showing off his chart here. But we'll see how it goes. So I'll read you what he posted here today. And that was that the industrial average is better positioned to set a record now that its transportation counterpart has done so. And this is according to Richard Maroney, an editor of the Dow Theory Forecasts newsletter. As the chart illustrates, the Dow Jones Transportation Average has led the Dow Industrials throughout the current bull market, which started in March 2009. That's on the left side of the screen. And there we go. Try to get rid of those little mini pictures.
KSWS K-Swiss spikes higher, $4.55.
Thank you, Mr. Land. So what it's pointing out is that yesterday the Dow Transports closed at 5639.64. It's 5,056.39, an all-time high. The average had climbed 6.3% for the year, its best performance through January 15 since 1987. It's a legitimate move, says Maroney, who serves as the chief investment officer at Horizon Investment Services LLC, as well as the newsletter's editor. I take it as a positive. All 20 companies in the Dow Transports had gains for the year as of yesterday. Delta Airlines, the world's second largest airline, set the pace by rising 15%. Most beat the Dow Industrials' 3.3% advance for 2013 as well. Fourth quarter earnings reports will largely determine whether the industrials reach a record anytime soon. According to Maroney, the average would have to advance 4.7% to surpass its peak of 14,164.53 in October of 2007, which is off this chart. It's 0.6% away from beating last year's high. JP Morgan is the first of 5 Dow industrial companies scheduled to report this week. Of course, we know they came out already. Earnings from Bank of America, Intel Corp, United Health Group are set for tomorrow, and General Electric results are due the next day. So, just thought I'd share that with you guys. Interesting chart. If you'd like to have a copy of that, feel free to send me an email. It's scrolling on the bottom of the screen. and I'll be happy to pass that along for your files. We got Rock and Doe posted in the room again. Always appreciate his postings. He's got a little bit more on eBay, $13 billion in eBay mobile transactions and $14 billion in PayPal mobile transactions in 2012, above the prior forecasts of $10 billion and $20 billion targets. I'm sorry, above the forecast of $10 billion. So you're saying it's actually $27 billion total? And they have a $20 billion target set for 2013. $256 million in shares repurchased, $1.1 billion in free cash flow above the net income of $972 million. OPEX plus 19% year over year, slightly above revenue growth. And you see the reference to the Buy It Now feature. So, yeah, it's not just about the auctions. The conference call looks like it's due to start in about another 3 minutes. So, if anybody's listening in on the eBay call and they want to give us a call and let us know what's going on, you're welcome to do that. It's Briguy Trading on Skype. You may have to friend me first and then call, but whatever works, we'd love to hear it. And if you'd like to call in, just give any commentary on any of the stocks that you were following today. We could do that too. Here's Boeing trading, looks like down about 9 cents after hours, but certainly not breaking the bank so far. But I believe Boeing was one of the weighers on the market today. Getting some feedback on the interview we had yesterday with Amar from Tick Strike. If you guys didn't already see the posting in the room, you can pull that video up in the members forum and watch that video. I have to say, if you hadn't noticed already, it's not just about the software. That actually is a really cool piece of software, and he's coming out with some updates to that, or I should say his team is. In another month, they'll be starting having stocks such as Apple and likely other high volatility stocks. But I think what you're going to find really interesting is the information about Amar's trading style and his mindset as a trader, his methods as a trader, his routine. If you want to know what he eats for breakfast, tune in. That's all I'm going to tell you. Why don't we take a look at some more music? I'll pull out some news, and we'll pick this up on the other side of the hour, coming up on 5 o'clock here on DayTradingRadio.com. Be right back.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk with you again, because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain
I tried. signs must have manifested change. Now this comes 2 days before.
It doesn't seem to me like, wow, you are really paying through the nose for the J.P. Morgan franchise. You're not. Bank of America, you're getting it well below tangible book value. Citibank, same thing. So I'm still staying with the bet for sure.
So a buyer, you?
I'd still be a buyer, but specifically Goldman Sachs. I think when we're on this desk, we talk about levels in the name. It was 119, it was 130. Now it's 140. If it holds this level, it's 150. It has not disappointed. This bank has outperformed the 99% of the space. But another name that goes after that private wealth section of the population is First Republic, FRC. That's a name under radar, outperforms.
Won't they be more impacted by net interest margins staying compressed?
I don't think so. I don't
see that expand?
I don't think that. I think that these guys, this whole space, are going after the wealth, the people who have the wealth in this country. This is where what Goldman Sachs is going after, J.P. Morgan's going after. A lot of these little banks, and they already have the client list, the First Republics.
Yeah, and back to J.P. Morgan, the thing that I think I'm surprised people don't jump out on a day like today with these numbers and with the kind of growth that they're showing in their earnings profile, and you get this public outlash, and this is not how I feel about J.P. Morgan, but if you look at really, they have been one of the greatest beneficiaries of this housing bubble, and in fact, the helping or the bailout of the Wall Street banks has done nothing other than make J.P. Morgan a machine for making money going forward. So, yeah, they had a $700 million write-down in terms of the settlement with Fannie, and that was something that people didn't expect. The trade-off of that in terms of the mortgage originations and everything that they're doing is a home run. So they come out of this looking great, and I think they deserve to look great because they didn't need the bailout and they didn't have their hand out there. But there should be a lot of people out there that I'm surprised aren't yelling and screaming that the banks are never looking have never looked better. Those that have survived this.
Right. Well, with the help of the banks today, the S&P 500 closed at a 5-year high once again. But our stock's on track for a major drop in 2013. Let's bring in Gary Schilling, longtime economic forecaster who has served on staff at the San Francisco Fed. Gary, always great to see you.
How are you doing?
And we're doing well, but your forecast is pretty dire. You're expecting a major double-digit % drop in the S&P 500, correct?
Well, yeah, but not immediately. Right now we're in a risk-on trade situation because you have what I call the grand disconnect. The money's being pumped out the doors by central banks. Investors are only looking at that, buying stocks. They couldn't care less about the economies on the ground, which are in recession, like the Eurozone, the UK, Japan, China deleveraging, U.S. limping along. They couldn't care less. And the other thing that's at work here, of course, is the zeal for yield. I mean, that's why junk bonds are up. Total return 20% last year, but investment grade only about 5%. Now, this condition, I think, will continue until you get some kind of shock that returns investors to the reality of weak to recessionary economies. And at that point, you go to the risk off. And that's where I think you find that earnings with a global recession and stocks are vulnerable.
Well, let's get down to brass tacks. You're predicting more specifically a 42% drop in the S&P 500.
No, not 42. I'm saying the way I get there, I've got at some point, some 4 quarters.
Oh, not 42. Why did we have you on air?
$80 operating earnings on the S&P. And bear market bottoms have averaged about 13. You multiply that, that's 1040. That's 29% decline from here.
But Gary, first of all, if you look, I don't know where you're getting $80 a share. On
well, I'll tell you, I get it from
But when I look at the bear market bottom of March of 2009, when we went down to 666 on the S&P was trading at 10.3 times. So a bear market multiple of 10, I think, is extreme because that was, I said 13. But the global recession.
I said 13. That's the average of the post-war market bottoms. 13.
Well, you're an economist and a highly decorated one. So, to give you your due, the recession you're talking about, the global recession, where is this? I mean, the IMF is talking about 3.
Oh, the FCC pulling the plug on the video here.
3.6% global GDP growth next year.
You have it now in the Eurozone. You have it in the UK. You have it in Japan. You have deceleration in China. The U.S. is slow growth at best. I think the risk is on the downside.
It's not even close.
But Gary, more specifically, I mean, what you're saying is that the average GDP growth is going to be 2%, which is lower than 3.3% that's needed to hold the unemployment rate steady, correct? So in a year, we're actually going to see the unemployment rate pretty dramatically higher.
Well, that's right. If you look at the trade-off between unemployment and economic growth, it takes 3.3% real GDP growth just to keep the unemployment rate stable. Now, that's over the total post-World War II period. At 2%, you would
have a graphic now. Three more cliffs to go.
Rise of the unemployment rate by a little over 1 percentage point a year.
Mr. Schilling, it's Steve Grasso. Where do I go, though? Do I go with the XLPs? Do I go with utilities? Where do I play this? And where's the timing? Is it right after the debt ceiling debate?
Yeah, I sure wish I knew on the timing. I think right now the way we're structuring suggestions on portfolios is, yeah, risk on, but with caution. I wouldn't buy junk bonds. I'd go for more defensive stocks, utilities, dividend payers, consumer staples, things like that. We also like natural gas, North American energy. There are other special things. We're short the yen. But it changes dramatically if and when you get this shock and you move to risk off, because then you don't want to own equities.
And no surprise, all of these sectors that you've mentioned so far are very defensive. At the same time, you also see some opportunity in small luxury names.
All right, I think we're gonna.
Why is that?
I think we're gonna cut that. Get the idea. Oh, these experts say somebody reads a soundbite somewhere and they're like, "Oh, get him on the air," and then he comes on and he's pretty much giving you an average viewpoint on everything. So, what are you gonna do? All right, let's take a look at some news items that came out today. Looks like United Airlines trying to raise their airfares again. Let's see, that's UAL. United Airlines is trying again to raise prices after a similar move failed earlier this month. United said Wednesday that it raised prices for travel within the U.S. by up to $20 a round trip. United Continental Holdings Incorporated said it raised prices $2 each way for flights under 500 miles. $3, $5, $10. I got these increments here for these flights. They tried to raise prices up by $10 a round trip on January 3rd, but rolled back the increase after others, notably Southwest Airlines, kept their fares unchanged. Well, there's your competitive market. JP Morgan analyst Jamie Baker, who spotted Wednesday's increase shortly after United entered it in ticket distribution systems, said he expected some other big airlines to raise prices too, but that Southwest support would be needed for the increase to stick. Southwest carries more passengers within the U.S. than any airline and wields great influence over prices on many routes. So that's UAL up 24 cents on the day. Let's see if they did anything after hours. Not a heck of a whole lot. And then we have Southwest Airlines, LUV, and they're up 20 cents on the day, but not much after hours. All right, let's see what other news items we have here. We talked earlier about Jamie Dimon. Come on, Stinker. I did hit click, didn't I? It's giving me the United Airlines report again. We talked about CBS, Boeing. Looks like Crocs in the news. No, don't know if we have a whole lot of. Very good. Just name that tune in half a second, right? That was pretty good there, Gas. Next time I'll let that run itself out. And I'll do. see how this works. So eBay started their news conference at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We are 13 minutes into the call, and it's already moved off of those lows that led into the call, and currently up about 86 cents. My Skype is being activated again, and again my phone somehow is answering before my computer is, so if you could just bear with me, we'll see when the computer decides to let me know, and we'll answer that call. Oh! Sounds like he hung up. I might call him back. Testing, testing.
I was starting to take it personally.
It's still ringing. Are you there or what?
I'm here.
Okay. I don't know why I'm still hearing it ringing. It's my computer just
somewhere.
No, my computer plays catch up. I think we did all right.
What are you doing? You're going to be on every afternoon now?
We're still working that out because Joel wants to do a show in the afternoon.
Well, are you legally separated now or what?
No, my wife has an afternoon schedule, so.
Oh, nice.
It's fine. It's fine.
She's a nurse, right?
No, she's in the dental field.
Okay, I knew it was some kind of health-related thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so she works like an afternoon, evening hours. I don't see her for a while. So it works out all right. And, I'm just trying to get into a rhythm here. I was talking to John about it only a couple of days ago, and I thought I was going to have more prep time before he started announcing it. Just kind of worked out that way.
Well, in a way, what is that? Necessity breeds, whatever it is.
Something like that. Contempt, is it?
No.
Speaking of which, we're at 5:15, and the ES just closed. Moved down another. Looks like a full buck from where it was at 4:30.
I'll tell you one thing I got to say about the futures. They don't shut down enough, you know.
Oh, yeah? What are you looking for?
Well, what I mean is, they run, all the time, right?
Yeah.
So there's no break like you get with the equities.
Okay. I think that's the point of the vehicle, though, isn't it? Yeah. Well, okay. Yes, that's right. They don't take a break. But then when you're watching in the middle of the night and you see Japan drops down 3% all of a sudden, and it's nice to see the U.S. market responding in kind. And yet when something jumps up 3%, the U.S. market's like, yeah, well, so what? That's over there. So I can never figure that out.
Well, I'm starting to hate stops now.
Oh, yeah. You just want to take them off completely.
Well, I mean, it just seems like, you just can't set them just right,
Well, if you keep telling everybody what they are, then somebody's going to find them, right?
You think Wall Street's following the gas spot?
Well, it doesn't take too much.
Yeah.
Go through those subscriptions and see if there's any...
It might be slightly arrogant on our part.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyways,
Still,
I had a little fun at the very end of the day. I took one of the subscribers' ideas, and actually you were doing it, taking one-tick profits.
Uh-huh. Is that what all those graphics are on the screen of all those trades?
Yeah, well, I got 4 in, and now, unfortunately, I'm stuck again.
Okay.
But it's got a ridiculously high percent profitability.
Of doing one-tick stops.
Oh, yeah. It's not one-tick stops, profit.
Yeah, one-tick targets. Yeah. Well, I mean, when I was doing it I was actually... I was buying 2 contracts, and then my bracket puts in 2 targets.
Oh, 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
And that was because I was seeing many times where it would come down that 1 tick and then come back up again, and it wouldn't actually go through. So And also because 2 contracts was my risk at this point. I might do 3 or 4, but I just felt like for the following the bot, I'm comfortable with 2 contracts. And if it comes back up and goes past the original entry, I might add to it if I was taken out. If I'm back to 1 contract, I'll maybe add a second, and that's how I'm able to kind of like squeeze 5 or 6 ticks out of every trade by just doing that.
My difficulty is if I start, hand trading around the thing, it's going to get real confusing for people that are trying to follow it. Mm-hmm. So I'm a little more restricted.
Yeah, as long as you're tied with the alerts the way you are, until you can put this maybe on another system with its own platform and its own data feed.
I guess, I could open a separate account, I guess, but...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's got to be a way for them to give you a deal for a second data feed, not pay the full nut. I don't know if you could just get the ES data feed.
Well, I mean, ultimately, for the futures account, I'm safe because I think if you make 8 or 10 round trips a month,
yep,
they don't charge you what they call the radar screen fee,
right?
Which I think I can handle.
Most of the other DOM type trading platforms have the same arrangement for their charts. They'll give you the charts, but as long as you make 10, 20 trades a month, something like that, they don't charge you for it. Otherwise, it's like $15 a month or something.
I'm sorry, I'm reading the chat and I'm not listening to you.
That's all right. I do the same thing. I'm talking and I don't listen to me.
I'm sorry, just repeat that, please.
Yeah, I was saying that some of the DOMs that are out there, like Stage 5 and Infinity, Vancar, they give you the charts, and you've got to pay $20 a month for the charts unless you make 10, 15 trades a month, and they give it to you for free.
Yeah, TradeStation is similar. You get the platform per se, but they're real proud of their radar screens, which is essentially a table of charts.
Okay.
And then you have to pay for the data on top of that.
Yeah.
And then there's a certain minimum trades, whether they be equities or futures or whatever your vehicles are. Mm-hmm. And you waive the $99 fee.
Okay.
Which reminds me, if anybody chooses to open a TradeStation account,
yes,
they don't have anybody to say referred them, I'm more than happy to take that job.
Okay. So shameless self-promotion out there is get in touch with Gas, find out what his username or however way you have to do the referral, and you can get your $50 or whatever they give you.
Yeah, they actually gave me $60 worth of data that I normally would have paid for due to a referral.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well, if you're going to open an account, you might as well, throw a little candy to somebody.
Yeah.
And who better to give it to, right?
I can think of no other person than your handsome self.
Yeah, well. Anyways, I'm not even going to be at the helm tomorrow.
What? 2 times in 1 week? What?
I know.
How can you manage to run this gas bot when you're taking off all the time?
Well, that's why it's so cheap.
I don't know. It's been costing me quite a bit.
Uh-oh.
I'm one of these guys that are picking the stop out of the 12 trades that are positive.
I got to tell you, today was just an extremely unusual day. I didn't get, going with a bot trade till 10 a.m. or so, but for the bot to sit in the trade all day and then, be done, that's just, I've never seen it in 9 months. Never.
Well,
not once.
A lot of your bot viewers are having seen it in 9 months. They're seeing it multiple times in 1 month. So, I guess so.
Well, it may be a factor of the time of year.
Okay.
In other words, when the market doesn't, basically become cyclic, then you can get stuck.
Okay.
I've seen that in every strategy I've ever looked at, written, ran. In essence, once you're out of range, you're out of range. Does that make sense?
Out of range of...
Your
I
profit
don't know what
target.
you mean. Oh, okay. So it's not going to come back around to it.
In other words, the bot likes to trade the noise, the variation in the stock price.
Okay.
And once you're, 1 or 2 points away, then you're just out of range.
Yeah. So then what's the solution to that?
I don't know, go take a different job, I guess. But, the solution to it is to add multiple contracts.
Okay.
That really is the one solution.
So then you can trade that second contract while you're waiting for it to get back.
During the session, I showed the viewers, I call it GasBot 3.0.
Okay.
And it trades, while the first trade is, quote, stuck.
Right.
And obviously, you risk having a 2-car position get taken out.
Right.
On the stop. That's the downside.
But not likely the same entry.
Definitely not the same entry.
Right. So your other stop was going to be so far out of the way. I mean, something really would have to be going opposite.
Well, and it does happen. But, what I did was... Jesus. Sorry. Mm-hmm. My neighbor, she's painful. Anyways, I actually wrote that the price had to be a certain percentage away from my entry before I would even consider a second.
Okay.
And then it uses the same criteria to enter.
Okay. Oh, so are they linked then, is what you're saying? The two bots? When you say 3.0? Or is it taking into account that there would be another entry at a certain point and then the second entry comes along?
Well, 3.0 is basically a second entry on top of 2.0.
Right. So 2.0 has a trade on, and then 3.0 presents another trade setup.
Yes, but you write it all into one set of code, so it all becomes 3.0.
Understood. So then you could leave 3.0 running, and it's going to present a second car trade at some time? Not all the time, but sometimes?
Correct.
Okay. That's interesting.
And actually, I've seen it where it's actually gotten stopped out on the first position.
Yeah.
But it took, let's say, 3 trades underneath it.
Right.
That were successful. So
right.
It mitigates the damage.
Right. Okay. And that's helpful, because you were going to get stopped out anyway on the first one. So, like you
Correct.
said, instead of being, what are we doing now? Currently 16 ticks, right? Is the stop. So instead of being 16, you might be down 10.
And the sad part about today's one trade is that the 19 ticks, which was the original one that I ran for months, which I decided, was too big.
Right.
Would not have hit.
I noticed that. 17 ticks would not have hit.
It makes me want to just, I don't know, run a large hole and just hide,
Well, you're the fearless GasBot leader, so you're not allowed to do that. There's a lot of people relying on you to hold their hands through all of this.
Yeah, and the sad part is that, we'd be down maybe a point right now in that trade. I mean, it still would be a painful day because we would not have done anything.
Right. Well, where was that? That stop was at 68?
Oh, we high-ticked the hell out of it, and then we high-ticked it at 1:41 p.m.
Yeah.
It went one tick above that on one candle.
Right.
At 14:35.
Yeah.
And then it's been down since.
That's 60. So here's what I'm asking you. Was the 16-point stop at 68, or you're telling me it was at 69?
No. The 16 tick stop was at 68 and 3/4.
68 and 3/4.
Right.
Okay. So the 19 would have been...
Add 3 ticks of that, and we never would have got there.
Exactly. Okay. And the entry was...
Blows, and blows is an investment term. You can look it up on
Yes.
media.
The entry was right about where we're at now, right? It was 64.
Yeah, we'd
even,
be down.
or?
We'd be down a point right now in that trade.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm licking my wounds over here. So, and I see you got the sim on the screen, and now you're telling me you're going to be off tomorrow. So I'm jonesing.
Well, I'm glad you raised that issue.
Okay.
The beauty of the track and trade system is that just because the bot's in a trade doesn't mean you can't use those same levels to take your own positions. The positions are still valid. In other words, once you're in a trade,
right,
the entry signals would continue.
I definitely see that, but here's my thing. Last night, the sim was running, so it's filling and closing and filling and closing in a simulator. And I'm looking at a volume of 3 on some of the price levels where this thing is filling, closing, and then filling again on the same level. And it's not changing the real volume, of course. So my trade is just sitting there collecting dust, never getting triggered.
Okay, but a missed trade is not a disaster. It's just that. It's a missed opportunity.
Well, what happens is, and this didn't happen, I'm not saying it happened, but what I was worried about happening, and since I couldn't focus on it, I just turned it off, because I think that's the best thing to do. But what I was worried about happening was getting into an entry, the simulator getting out of it, and me not getting out of it, and then the simulator finding another trade in an opposite direction.
Well, yes, but once again, this is where you have to get used to the whole concept of automated trading, is that once you're in a position, you don't even need the screen anymore.
Okay.
In other words,
I've done that.
It doesn't matter if you're short and a long triggers.
Mm-hmm. All right, fair enough.
Now I did
because the original entry would have been the valid entry for the system.
Say again?
Because the original entry would have been a valid entry for the system.
Well, what happens is once you have taken a position, only the exit criteria apply.
Okay.
The entry criteria now become, inconsequential, if you will.
Okay. Well, I have to say this. I have left trades on and gone to bed and not worried about it because it's a system. And I've woken up and been surprised to see that it got closed in the green. And I've woken up and found out it got stopped out. And either way, I'm not sweating it out because that's the way it's supposed to work.
I mean, I will say this. If you're, getting a position, late at night and you're going to bed, then I would think that it's probably not a bad idea to look for a larger profit target because you're only going to have that one trade.
Yeah.
In other words, you're not going to get the advantage of closing for a small profit and getting right back in another trade that will give you another small profit.
Okay. That's valid.
What I'm noticing, though, is that we seem to drift lower every single evening lately.
It was doing the opposite of that just a week or so ago, wasn't it?
But, my way of saying lately is, the last 2 or 3 sessions. Because that's,
right.
You start looking at 1-minute charts and your time frame drops, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, let's see if I could change this to a 4-hour chart. And now it gets way too busy.
Let me scroll back here, Brian. People were asking questions and I was ignoring it. By the way, Mission Impossible was my favorite television show as a kid.
Yeah, good stuff there, right?
It was Sunday night, I think 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. I don't know, I was a kid, but I would rush home to watch it.
Yeah.
There was no VCRs or, there was
no, you had to be in front of the TV when it started.
I remember when, this is really dating my ass, but we didn't have a color television, but my friend did.
Right.
And I used to love to go over there and watch Johnny Quest, which was a actual primetime cartoon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that wasn't on when I was watching television.
So let me go through the questions. So James 42 talks about looking for larger profit targets, and I have a couple of those written, and I'm testing them. So the answer is yes. And Hoover's asking, can I just leave it alone and not have to worry about it? Oh, absolutely. There's a special setting that I missed at first, and a couple times I woke up with extra cars on.
Okay.
And luckily for me, I learned the easy way because they were actually big, beautifully, timed, either shorts or longs, and I ended up making some extra money.
Right.
Which wasn't the case for one of my members that has the software. But yeah, definitely, it's all written and designed to run up, by itself.
Right. But it is a track and trade system, so you need to be watching it and just, it's not placing the order and getting filled immediately other than in extreme volatile times. So generally speaking, as soon as the order's placed, you're finding out a second later, and you should be adept enough at your platform to be able to put that trade on within a second after that.
And as well, the subscribers that are starting to have watched it for a bit, they can actually beat the bot itself to the order queue.
I noticed that.
Yeah.
I noticed that when the news comes out on something and there's this large candle gets put in, and I've heard you say the entry is going to be at the tip of that candle, and as soon as the next candle is printed, there it goes and hits it.
Well, that's because you have to understand that strategies are evaluated at the close of a bar. So if I see a new low being painted, I know that the next order is going to be a bid at the lowest low.
There you go. So,
but the question becomes
behind the curtain there.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, but the question becomes is, what is the lowest low? And the ideal bot trade is where the lowest low is painted at the very end of the bar. And that's why I love the idea that one of our subscribers requested, which I actually found, is the countdown timer for the bar.
Yeah, I noticed you had that on there.
And one quirk I found was that it doesn't move unless there's an actual trade. So sometimes it gaps. The countdown timer will gap, 5 seconds or so.
Okay.
Not during the regular session, obviously. But
okay. Oh, you mean if someone doesn't, if there's not a print of...
Right. In other words, it only moves when there's an actual trade.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could see.
And there are times in the after hours where it doesn't trade for 10 seconds or so.
Right. I know what you're saying. Yep. That's fine. There's probably a way to change that, but I don't know if you need to. It's probably good enough.
Well, no. Generally it's all within the code itself, but it would never evaluate a strategy, continuously, because that would just chew up your processor.
Right.
So there has to be a price change for it to do anything.
Right. So time is not a factor in the strategy. It's the order flow.
Well, I'm just referring right now to the bar countdown timer.
Yep.
Is this your first exposure to any kind of automated stuff, Brian?
No. I haven't used it myself, but I've seen. I know some other traders that had TradeStation. I sat next to a guy at a seminar once with it, and it looks pretty robust. It was new to me at that time. This is a couple years ago, since I've been using Thinkorswim for so long. The concept of paying for data fees is a new concept at the time, but you begin to understand that.
In the broker's defense, they have to pay the exchanges for the data. So
right,
I'm sure they mark it up a bit.
Right, and I tell people that when you have Thinkorswim, you're paying a higher commission because they're giving you all the software for nothing without charging the data fees. And I think, and there's a lot of debate about this, that there's a slight delay in some of the order flow information that they might get away with because you're not paying for the data fees. I don't know.
Well, I always giggle because they talk about level 2, quotes, which we can get, for our premium fee.
Right.
But there's such a thing as level 3, which we're just not even allowed to have.
Yeah, when I was at the show last year in New York, there was I sat in on one of these free seminars, thinking I'd pick up something new, and they were humping the level 3 concept. What, you're trading without knowing the level 3s? That kind of thing.
Well, what I'm curious of
make
is
money?
that if I can get my software closer to the exchanges and I can get a better position in the queue, whether I would see a significant difference in results.
Yeah, I don't know what it would take to do that.
Well, I do, actually.
Okay.
I mean, there are software vendors out there currently that you basically open an account with a broker and then you say, I want to pay for this service. Mm-hmm. And it comes with, a monthly charge in essence. And depending on how many contracts you want to trade, you pay a certain monthly fee. And then, your extent of seeing what's going on is you get an email at the end of the day saying your account is now worth this. That's it. That's all you know.
Okay. But they're giving you the data feed at that point, or you're saying throughout the day you're getting the data feed?
Okay. The client per se just opens an account, funds it, and then the broker runs the software that the author has written. And it's just a matter of, like I said, from the client standpoint, they don't even know what the trades were.
Okay.
They just know what their account's worth at the end of every session.
Okay. So it's a different kind of service.
Absolutely. But, that's out there and currently available, and I've never utilized such a beast, but it's an intriguing concept to me.
All right. Well, I got the music playing. I don't think you can hear it probably because I don't have that set up the way Johnny does.
I'll jump off. Anyways, it was thought I'd just jump on and
No, anytime. Yeah, that's great. And of course, to the members out there who are part of the Day Trading Radio family and not already a subscriber, you can. What can they do? Is the GasBot logo on there all the time once you log in? I guess it is, right?
I think they moved it to the a portion of the main screen to the lower right now.
Okay. So you could still find that on the home page once you log in, and it's an add-on to your service, and it'll give you access to a separate video and chat stream for the GasBot. So since you're going to be off tomorrow, are you going to leave something running for the members, or is it going to be offline?
No, I'll be happy to let it run, but what the caveat is that part of the strategy is that it has a limiter in it. In other words, if it takes a certain amount of heat, closed trades, it says okay, not the right market for the counter trend, shut down.
Okay.
So depending on where I am in the morning, then I may be taking live trades, or it may be back in the sim mode.
Okay.
And the sim mode at least offers the subscribers the ability to see the indicators.
Right.
If they're just jumping in there at 10 o'clock or something, they can still at least see the levels. Whereby my this is my real money, and I have to I can't be trading continually counter trending a trend, right?
Right.
Obviously, the ideal thing would be to know ahead of time whether you're going to have a trending market and then you just trade breakouts, or whether you can counter trend. That's literally the holy grail of automated trading. And every trend ends, and every period changes. So that's it's an impossibility to know in advance what kind of market you have.
Well,
at least mathematically.
I think that's what Amar said yesterday, that nothing works. 100% of the time.
Correct. And, you just hope that you hit it right, or you're in the right area, or you have the ability to survive when you're wrong, so you can trade the next day.
Right.
And that's why the software has written into it, it's a daily goal, so it may actually have a great day and then be shut down because, hey, it made its goal, or it's taken its maximum loss for the day. It's kind of like prop traders, they have limits on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed appropriate to me to do the same thing with the code.
Yes.
Trader Daymark says, how did you write that program? You mean...
Yeah, no, you never heard that question before.
No, what language is it written in? I mean, there is an easy language coding, if you will, that's part of the platform that I utilize.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you can take Thinkorswim, for example, and program it to automate trade. It doesn't do it. TD Ameritrade does offer automated trading software. You'd have to get that separate software.
Yeah, my understanding is that there's at least 3 or 4 or 5 major software platforms that have automated capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as easy language per se, I know that Multichart utilizes it, and of course TradeStation, the original developer of it.
Mm-hmm.
And for those that are interested, there's a magazine called Stocks and Commodities, and there's a lot of great articles in there about automated trading. And they actually supply the code in the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also oftentimes download the actual, what they call an easy language document, or ELD. And then you just import it into your platform.
So you don't have to type the whole thing out?
Well, the Ikimushu stuff?
Yep.
Somebody wrote a code for that.
Okay.
And boom, in 3 minutes I had it running on a chart.
Right.
And likewise, this little countdown timer, I didn't write that. Somebody else did.
Right. So, if you don't know anything about programming, you might want to talk to somebody that's familiar with it before you start spending money on funding an account and just letting these scripts run, because you can get yourself in trouble real fast. But
yeah, I mean, the one thing about all the the coding, if you will, is that what you do is you start with an idea, and then you got to figure out how to get the math to behave the way you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit of a Da Vinci Code type thing where you have to. It's a puzzle, and I like puzzles.
Aha. So is this the first language you programmed with?
It is.
Okay.
And did I read a book? No.
I didn't. You're asking your own questions now?
I can interview myself if that's all right.
I'm noticing that. I didn't mean to be that boring. Start asking your own questions. Maybe you'll start putting your own tunes on.
Yeah, that was something I want to talk to you about. Are you going to be playing tunes every night now?
I don't know per se, because Rainmaker usually comes on tonight. I did have some songs on last night that seemed to strike a chord with some of the members, and it just kind of worked out that way. As long as I'm not using my computer for something else, I don't mind leaving it running.
I have actually had a couple opportunities to play some music on my channel.
Right.
But I don't want to have two. This was John's point. We don't need to have 2 different music streams running. So,
right.
I do it when we have a non-music thing going on the main channel.
Okay. Yeah, but then again, when that happens, that's usually when his queue runs out, and it's late at night. Right?
Yeah, I mean, that's mostly it's been the overnight sessions where I've actually played and I kind of like the classic rock genre.
Right. What's that word you just said?
You want me to spell it?
The classic rock
genre.
Genre?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard it pronounced that way before. Is that a Floridian thing?
Well, no, it's I have phonetic difficulties.
Oh. Like
I can't, people say break the word down, use the syllables. That's impossible for me.
Okay. It's all starting to make sense, Jim.
Sonny says it's genre. I don't know how you say it.
Thank you, Sonny. Yeah, well, I guess it's like Les Miserables. It's a crazy way.
Yeah, well, in any event, life goes on, and we're trying to work this over here. We got a kind of a nice group of people, and it's been a horrible market for this thing. I will admit.
Okay.
So, I'm so frustrated that, November and December, there was just some great runs there, and, all we're doing is struggling to get things started.
Mm-hmm.
So, if this is going to be the future, then, we'll see what happens, but...
Well, it's a good opportunity here, so you got a lot of eyes on you, and if you can...
Yeah, that's the other side.
Get it to work and tweak it, and, if there's an issue, let people know that so they can pause their own systems and wait till things turn a corner or a page. That way you don't,
there it
you
is.
don't end up with too many...
had it right. It's genre. That's what I said. I think.
Yeah.
What the hell? I like classic rock, okay?
Yeah, let's just keep it at that, right? Yeah. No, classic rock, I like it too.
Look at how we're on the lows again.
Yeah.
Every evening?
Yeah. Well, dried up volume too, but I had the 4-hour chart on here earlier. I don't know if I got too many other lines on here or not, but we're in a tight range here for a good couple of weeks.
Actually, Larry made a great point now that you mentioned it, is that sometimes we get in this, the futures world, and we act like being down 2 points is, the end of the world, and, how could we possibly be in this horrible position? In the grand scheme of things, 2 points is nothing. You have to back up sometimes.
Tell that to the guy that lost 2 points 5 times in a row.
I'm not making the argument that 2 points isn't something, but in the grand scheme of things, 2 points is nothing.
Fair enough.
All right, I'm done rambling.
I'm looking at this range. I have a fib I put on here somewhere, and we're actually trading right between the 0 and the 23.6. The question is, how old is that? How old are those fib lines? Let me see.
I love how everybody in the chat room is trying to phonetically spell genre.
Yeah. Genre.
I got genre.
Yeah.
Genre.
Right. If we can actually get the little...
Those sound more like names I might encounter in South Florida.
Here's a question for everybody in the room. Does anyone know what a schwa is?
Schwab, isn't that a brokerage?
No B. There you are. You keep throwing more letters on things. Don't know why you do that. November 17th. That was the... that's the date I put this fib on. So let me come back here. So it's from this candle, November 16th, to the recent high at 71.5. So from 1340 or so up to 71.5, and that's the range that we're in between the 0 and the 23.6. We really haven't done much.
What are those blue, like wave-like things? What is that?
Well, it's a 4-hour chart. Those are the volume bars.
Okay, why do they go from high to low so much?
I would say because during the normal market open, you have, and this is actually, I was starting to read some studies about this, is splitting the day in half and having two different styles of trading, because you've got the morning session and the afternoon session. That's why they're showing up like that. I don't know if you can tell the thinness of those lines, but you're basically looking at the morning and the afternoon. And if we count back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 sessions, the morning volume was more than the afternoon volume.
Yeah, but that is true. If you look at really any market, especially in equities, the first hour and the last hour have a lot of volume. And likewise with the futures, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the reasons that a lot of people recommend you stay away from the first 35, 45 minutes and not trade the last hour, that kind of thing.
Right. Which I know you did something with the bot to stop taking trades in the last hour, right?
I did.
Is that still valid?
So far.
Okay. I mean, I've been
today I was screwing around with this one tick thing that
okay.
actually has me in a losing trade now. So.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but yes. Let's see if anybody came up with the answer on the schwa. Yes, McMill, that is absolutely right. It's a little backwards-looking E that just brings back a lot of 5th grade English, maybe 3rd grade, I don't know. And James is doing a shared pain here that it's not just the bots.
Yeah, I mean it's a perplexing market because it can run you over, but yet when you look back, what I like to do just real quick is I like to go look at the daily charts. If you look at the S&P daily, there's a little bit of a sort of a trend up here, but the chop in there, even on the daily, you can see it. We haven't made a lot of movement, but boy, obviously, if you're looking at, trying to, move in and out in a 5-point range, there's plenty of opportunity to get hurt.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely forming some kind of a obtuse pennant flag here,
isn't it?
It doesn't necessarily say it wants to quit either.
And the Nasdaq's no different.
Let's bring that up.
It had a gap, and now we've been in this sort of like extremely tight, little choppy, drift up.
Yeah.
This kind of goes back to what John was saying earlier with RPM, is that he senses the underlying strength, and when they whack a mullet, knock stuff down, it seems to eventually come back.
Well, these earnings season will definitely give a perspective. The banks sound like they're making money hand over fist.
Can you believe that Goldman was under 100, now it's over 140?
I'm shaking my head at that. I really am.
I mean, woohoo!
And, JP's got to be pissed. I mean, I don't know what the comparison is for the float, but it's like a competition between Google and Apple there for a while. There's just didn't matter what their valuation was. The per share had to be more than Google. We'll show them.
Yeah. Meanwhile, I took a $100 hit on a 510 weekly call on Apple, I think Monday.
Mm.
Now I don't even want to look what they're at. But those weeklies it's a timing issue, and it scares you to death to hold those things overnight with the theta burn. So it seemed like every day Apple would fall 3%.
Yeah, it did that for a few times. It may do that again. But
Apple's a good one to take small positions and leave yourself some opportunity to add, and put it in an account like an IRA or something where you got to swing it, because when you scalp, you need to have a margin account, in my opinion, because otherwise you're always afraid to take the money off the table because you got to wait 3 days, right? So if you have money that has to go through that trade plus 3 settlement deal, and you're going to be spending a bulk of time in front of the markets, you got to have a margin account to trade equities, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
I know people do it without, but you lose the time opportunity every time you close a trade.
You're talking strictly from the aspect of getting in and out of things.
Yeah, because if you have a margin situation and you don't like a position and you can get out plus $3, not 3 points on the contract, but $3 literal dollars of profit, you can do it, and the capital is immediately available to you.
Mm-hmm. I can't seem to find the numlock key on my laptop. There it is.
Numlock. I might take that personally.
No, I was trying to. I don't have a separate number pad on my laptop, and I was trying to type out the schwa symbol, which reveals how much I was paying attention to your comments about margin trading.
That's okay. So it wasn't meant for you.
Forgive me for that. Okay, good. Because
really
that's the way
I'm putting that out there for people that are new to.
Yeah, I try to tell people that when I do the interview, is that somewhere along the way I might ask a question, and I don't want you to think it's because I'm a moron, but I want you to answer it for everyone else's benefit.
I will say that I'm learning more about utilizing covered calls on some of my longer positions.
Yeah, those are really interesting. They intrigue me. I haven't done that myself, but that's, I've known of them for a long time, and then we do have quite a few traders in the options room that have been using that more and more, and it intrigues me.
And the one comment I want to make on it early is that the time to sell covered calls is right about the time that the trade's going against you a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But once you're well down in a trade, then you could start looking at those options, saying, "Well, gee, I'm going to get $55, but what if this thing runs up $300, and now I've limited my gain then, right?"
Yeah.
So the better situation is to be able to sell strikes at your cost basis. So at least you know that if it gets exercised, you've at least got your premium as your profit.
Now, how does that work with the VIX being down as low as it is? 1342 today.
Yeah, the option experts, which I'm not one, obviously, but they'll tell you that there are times when the premium's higher.
Well, yeah, because that time is not now. The idea of being a buyer, that's why, I did see a play. In fact, that reminds me, I did see a play on Fast Money for, or maybe it was options action for Goldman Sachs going into this week. And that was and he bought a straight up call because the low volatility. The low VIX.
Well, it's funny you mentioned Goldman because I've had a fairly large Goldman position on.
Mm-hmm.
And, last year, I believe, early in the year, I made 2 or 3 round trips on it. I was getting $5 or $10 out of it.
Yeah.
Then I got, quote, stuck. And then, trying to look at selling premium going into the earnings, I didn't like it because I wasn't getting enough if the thing really moved on me, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And look what it did today. So, I was better off not selling covered calls, primarily because I didn't do it soon enough.
Mm. Well, I don't know why the earnings aren't showing up. Oh, because I have GLD on the screen. You said Goldman and I put gold. Yeah, that makes more sense. I was wondering why it wasn't below 100. Let me delete these lines here. But
I guess maybe when Trade for Pay Joel gets on and they do their they do their options thing, maybe they can talk a little bit about timing of covered calls, because
sure,
to me it seems like I made my first covered call ever was on United Healthcare.
Okay.
And I'll admit I'm an idiot at times. Anyways, I'm looking at the
wait, I wasn't recording. Let me back up.
Yeah, the various options, on the the pain there, and I said, wow, I could get, $1.37 for these or whatever, and they were 3 or 4 points below the current price. Or I'm not saying that correctly, but what ended up happening to me was United was a very good play at the time, and I sold the covered calls. The next thing I know, I got a big gain on the common and a big loss on on what I had sold. Right, okay. So I'm like, now what do I do? And then it kind of came back in. I finally got to the point where I took off the covered calls because I could net out, a decent profit. But, the bottom line is you really need to sell covered calls above where you are, not below.
Yeah, Dyla will always point out to you about being in the money for the calls versus out. But yeah, that's a good suggestion for the show. I know Joel's been kind of progressively going through various option strategies, so I don't know where covered calls comes within the what do you call it? The complicated factor. And actually, I should say the futures just opened up a minute or so ago, and we're already down $1. Now, just remind me, is the being down $1, that's measured from the 4:30 session?
No. Now the session officially starts at 6 p.m.
So how are we down $1 already? I don't even see.
Oh, you know what? You might have a point there.
Yeah.
Well, no, that looks right because I'm showing the NQs up 3 ticks. And I'm showing the ES down 50 cents.
Yeah, down 50 cents, which means that the closing print would have been 64.50 or 65.50. So where's 65.50 on this chart?
Blind lead the blind.
You know what I'm saying? There's no 65.50 here. It's 65.25. The last time we got to 65.50 was back here at
maybe it is the 15.
And yet, this blue and orange band on the screen is set to be the opening and closing session. So it's reading.
To be honest with you, I'm a little confused about that because they added this new little mini session in there.
Right.
And then they said, well, settlement now is 5:15 p.m. Eastern.
Right.
So
let's see what 5:15 yields us. That would make the most sense. Somebody's going to type the answer in the room, I'm certain. All right, so on the ES, the close was 64.5.
A Swiss shares halted, news pending, ticker Kilo, Sandy, Whiskey, Sandy.
Oh, you know what?
What?
Because of dividends, they adjust the opening price based on dividends.
That whole thing confuses me.
Yeah, that's what it is. I knew if you left me on here long enough, I'd come up with a reason.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, there is an adjustment based on dividends, is my understanding.
Now, did you come up with that on your own, or did somebody put that in the room?
Shares,
no, I've heard that.
K-Swiss halt likely related to.
Yeah, there is a contract adjustment based on the dividends.
An earlier report from Korea Economic Development.
If anybody knows better,
Economic Daily, which says that the company
may have better understanding than I.
May have been bought.
My understanding is there is a contract
200
adjustment,
billion won,
and it occurs at the end of the session.
Yeah, we're getting some reports in from Benzinga that K-Swiss is halted.
U.S. FAA orders temporary ceasing operations of Boeing's 787.
U.S. announcing a halting of Boeing 787. And there's a killer on that stock there, down about a good $1.10 now.
Wow.
From where it was. And it was already down $2.60 on the day. So, I don't even know that they've sold too many of those 787s.
So where I went to dinner last night, they had an interesting trivia question.
I know you're. I'm going to stay off the Google for this, so I promise you. I'm not typing.
Anyways,
if I had a webcam, I'll show you my hands above the table.
What shoe brand was started off the aerobics craze in the 80s?
What shoe brand started off the aerobics craze in the 80s? Is it Reebok?
Yes.
No, come on. I'm not good at this. I don't get these answers like that. Come on.
Sorry.
I have to Google that first. That's not even Google. Google wouldn't have even given me the answer.
Shares of Boeing, ticker Bravo Alpha, trading down nearly 1.5% after hours.
Okay, here's a great one they
Following
had.
that headline.
Right. Hang on a second.
FFA ordering a temporary cease operations of the 787.
FFA. It's FAA. Ordering a temporary cease in operations of Boeing 787. Lovely. So they're down now $1, still $1.10. And
wait till the real market gets them. I wouldn't touch that one.
Let me just let's try to bring up a broader chart here and see where we're gapping here. Yeah, you know what? You're in no man's land down here. You got your 200 period and your 150 that are joining at 72.89. So you probably have a good size free fall down to there at least when this thing opens up tomorrow. You could try to grab a put first thing in the morning, see if somebody's dumb enough to sell it to you. Anyway, go ahead. What were you saying?
I was going to say that the one that stumped me, which I thought was pretty interesting, is tell me the largest single-site employer in the United States.
The
They have over
largest.
70,000 employees in the same location.
Yeah, I think I know this.
Well, if you know it, then don't.
I'll try to let some of the members.
Give somebody else a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. I really thought Reebok was going to be wrong. So. All right. So we're getting
70,000 employees in one location.
70,000 in one location.
Yeah.
We've got IBM. Is one guess.
No.
And we've got GE.
Nope. And it's not the government.
I'm sending you a PM.
It's not the government.
It's not that one. Well, you said single site.
Single site employer in the United States.
And by the way, we also had a note on K-Swiss getting halted.
All right,
some news pending.
42. What are you saying? What is DW?
Why is that close? We got.
Yeah, we have a winner. It's Walt Disney World in Orlando.
Aha! Interesting.
70,000 employees. Wow. I thought that was amazing.
That's a lot for one spot.
Isn't it?
And by the way, we have eBay starting to move up a little bit here on volume. Up now after hours at about $1. What is that? $1.50? No, $1.60 or so. And K-Swiss is halted with some news pending. I have some K-Swiss shoes. I like them. I hope they're still going to be around.
I'm going to buy Boeing at 55.
I don't think we're going that far. There's your low 72.8 already.
I'm just trying to put some perspective. I already was in Boeing once this month.
Are you manipulating the market, Gas?
And I was sweating it, right?
Yeah.
It worked out, and I made a small amount, which I always hate those trades where I have a big loss that I turn into a small gain. But I was so glad because the next day it got plummeted or plummeled.
Pummeled. Is this another one of those syllabatic issues?
Yeah, just don't even go there.
Wait, are you from Florida or somewhere else?
Michigan.
Michigan. Yeah, I knew Florida wasn't right.
I'm a Michigander.
Right. Oh, so that's why you like the Detroit trivia. I've used that. I like that one.
Oh, the go due south thing?
Yeah, the first foreign country you reach.
Right.
Boeing shares down 1.5% following that announcement. And I'm going to say it's going to keep going a little bit more.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of, Boeing is an institutional investment vehicle where there's, large mutual funds that want to have you. And I would wait for what I call the real market to see where this thing's going to be.
Well, the hard part too is it's a Dow component, and that's partly what was blamed for the Dow being way down today, whereas the S&P was flat and the Nasdaq was up.
Yeah, I was noticing that all day actually.
Oh, where were you in sharing that with the rest of the group?
Well, if you were in the gas spot room, you would have noted.
Well, the gas spot room was supposed to be the trade alerts. Why are you having conversations about the market and keeping it separate from all the rest of us? Don't we?
I can't even look.
Aren't
at the
we
main
all
chat.
supposed to be together on this? In the main
I
chat
remember
room?
when the main. Well, listen, I remember when the main chat was mostly about trading with, a little bit of sidebar just to keep the, people interested and when the market was slow. But honestly, a bit of an editorial position. The main chat now has gotten so busy with
down 2% after hours
stuff.
As the FAA
I have a hard time following.
787s.
I'm sorry, Mr. Lamb was talking during that last comment.
I say I have a hard time following the main chat anymore. I mean, I know I'm going to get slapped for this, but there's so much non-market stuff going on that it's becomes a little bit distracting to me personally.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's fun and people enjoy it, and it's all part of the DTR experience, which I wouldn't take it away from anybody. Just my personal thought is it's just very busy.
Well, what about the futures room? Since you're running a futures vehicle, why wouldn't you be in the futures room making some of these comments? They're pretty straightforward in there, aren't they?
Well, I like the idea that we have a trading only
Yeah,
room.
that's a nice room too. Although I get nervous going in there because that was like Dyla has set some very strict regulations about what was to be said in that room, and it makes me nervous.
My first visit there, I wrote hello, or is that okay?
Yeah, exactly my point. I don't know how far I can take it in there without getting in trouble. So I don't even have it open. It's just I feel bad. There's a whole world going on, and I'm missing out.
I mean, I can't be critical of the general membership because I've had my periods where I'm talking about nothing at all related to investing. So I mean, there's a purpose for it. It's a part of the camaraderie. I just, from my personal standpoint, when I'm trying to look at investments and do that, and the unfortunate side of it is there is some very good news and some opinion that goes through there on investing. It's hard to follow anymore. It's just so busy. That's all.
Well, there's plenty of guys that are trading and not even watching that room. So I get a little worried that what's going on in the gas spot room is its own world because you can only see the only subscribers can see that. It's not like you started a gas spot channel off of the main chat room that anybody can get into. If you know what I'm saying.
Well, in a way, it's in my opinion, a pleasant side effect.
Pleasant side effect. All right.
Well, it is. I mean, once again, my opinion, and I'm sure that not everybody's going to agree with me, and that might ruffle a feather. Or,
I don't agree with you.
There.
You haven't ruffled my feather, but I don't agree with you.
But Brian, I've been a member now long enough to say I remember different stages of the main chat. Mm-hmm. And in the beginning, I didn't understand quite, how much investments talk should be and how much should be, the sort of the entertainment part of it.
Okay.
And we've gone now. The pendulum has swung dramatically away from trading. That's just my observation.
Would you say that was the guy in the Buffalo phase, or was it the McDonald's room raid?
Hey, I was involved in that.
Okay. Wait a minute. You're telling me you were involved in that, so you're perpetuating the problem.
I'm not saying I'm not without blame.
Okay.
I'm just saying lately the pendulum has swung tremendously, and there's a lot of non-investment stuff going on, which that if that's what the main chat's purpose is, so be it.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like it is kind of the way the market is, because you can't. At this point, I don't think you're going to change that. It is going to be what it is.
The one subject that's probably worse than talking maybe politics or religion or something. It's actually
the state of the
be critical at all
DayTradingRadio.com
what we do here.
Chat room. Well, I hear what you're saying, and you're going to do what you're going to do. I guess for myself, I don't want to see a lot of people alienated from.
Well, I also don't want to not have the, I mean, some of the stuff that goes on is hilarious and extremely entertaining. So
yeah,
I'm not saying that should all stop.
But I guess what I see happening is that you make some valid observations, but they're being posted in a room that not everyone has access to.
So hint, hint, join up.
You're
Thanks for the segue.
You're solving the wrong problem.
Well, I mean, basically, I only have so much, attention. I'm trying to keep this new, project running and making it worthwhile for the subscribers, and do my own trading and my own observation of the market. And it is what it is.
Okay. Well, there you have it.
I mean, feel free to be critical of my opinion. I'm okay with that.
Okay, cool. We're still besties?
We are. I just felt like, I've wanted to say something about it for quite a while, actually.
Okay.
And I just chose to do it today. I mean, in 2 weeks, hopefully I won't have the same exact, opinion, but like I said, the pendulum has swung, very far away from trading.
Well, I think you're getting a little extreme now. You say very far away from trading.
Like I said.
I mean, first, okay. All right, let's change the subject. What do we got now? The market is down a point.
And with that, I'll run away. How's
that? And thank you very much for calling in. Call in anytime. You put in more time than you really needed to, and I appreciate it.
Hey, well, Brian, listen, I'm glad you got these shows running, and gives people, just even more content for Day Trading Radio, which is really grown, and it's just another add-on, and I've seen the place develop, and it's become a big deal.
Yes,
I know John talks more about the days when it was a few people, and nobody paid anything, and it was. Basically there was no need for rules because it was a handful of people.
Mm-hmm.
We have hundreds of people. Look at what time of night it is here. And there's over 175 people in the chat.
Yeah. And we're getting quite a few opinions going on in there right now too.
I knew I might have thrown a little gasoline on the.
That's good, gas. Throw some gasoline. Just burn the station down, and I'll be blamed because I put you on the air.
Just click the banner.
Yeah, it'll be the last time you take my phone call.
So much for Briguy's After Hours show. Two shows in, and it's over already. Off. Pull the plug.
We really are adults here. We have a common purpose.
Yes.
And if my goal here is to maybe get us to tone it down a touch. I mean, if I never see another banging head icon, I'll be okay.
Well, now you just invited a few of those. I don't even know how to do it.
I don't either. And I
have to
go
back and find it, and But look, it evolves over time, right, boys and girls? And use it for however way you want. There's that's one of the things I noticed is that there's a lot of ways to use the site. You can use it for the background commentary. You can use it for the video feedback. You can use it for the newsletter aspect of the weekly HBS setups. You could use it for the midweek update, or you can tune in for some tunes late at night. Whatever works for you. You got all different opportunities.
I mean, I don't mean to pretend for a second, Brian, that I don't have an overall very positive, feeling about the community and what everybody does. I mean, there's a lot of great work that goes in, a lot of great training that goes on. I'm not. My disclaimer is I'm not taking away from that.
Okay.
Anyway, for that, I'm going to run away.
Okay. Send your comments to gas at dtr.com, and we'll leave it at that.
If you want to send me hate mail, it's gasbot@comcast.net.
There you go. Gasbot@comcast.net, and I don't think anybody's going to bother sending hate mail. They'll just tell you in the chat room.
That's true.
All right, so let me go because actually I do have to be somewhere in about a half an hour, and I should start wrapping this up.
Thanks for doing it. Thanks for having me on.
All right, Jim. Take care. That was Gas with the Gas Bot, and appreciate the call. Thanks. And I'm clicking the hang up button, and it's not hanging up. So we'll see where that goes. And I love this. I get text alerts from one of the news items here. So here's the text alert coming in about, 10 minutes after the news from Benzinga that Boeing has been told to stop flying the 787 until they can investigate that further. Let's see. We got Jim Cramer's got Joy Global CEO on. That's symbol JOY. And the CEO says we still have an industry that has built a lot of capacity in recent years. There's been a restocking phase in China and slowly getting better. Let's see whether Joy Global's reacting to any of that after hours. Looks like not by a whole lot. Up about 13 cents after hours. Let's put eBay back on the screen. And maybe just expand that a little bit. And we see eBay now currently up. Looks like about $1.53 in after hours trading. Not too shabby. So that conference call must have gone well. And here's Boeing. Looks like leveling off down here at the 72.50 mark. Had looked at the daily on that Boeing here. And as I mentioned, the 200 average was down at the 72.89 mark. So looks like we went right past that to 72.59. And the body of the candles are at about 72.67. So here's what we'll do. Let's come over here and we'll add a little price level right on 72.89 and see how that holds up. Trading right through it, but we'll see what that leads to in the morning. That 72.89 level. See if that becomes a level of support or if we blow through that, in which case look out below, right? Okay, so thanks for checking in, guys, and I hope you're enjoying the show. I got a couple of ideas for things I'd like to cover on the show, and I just need to get myself organized for right after the markets and getting some of this information so I can present it to you. You know, there's other folks that do these shows, and they've got a whole crew of folks behind them handing them all the news. And if we want to work something out like that too, you guys can hand me the news, and I'll be happy to present it on the air. And Rock and Doe, I know, has been doing that quite a bit, and I appreciate that. So we'll see how that goes. And let me just read a quick little aftermarket commentary for you. That's coming in from, I believe, Briefing. If I get my window to refresh fast enough. I think it might help if I reboot the computer a little bit more often, too. Darn you, Faller, with your crazy avatar type things, icons, smiley faces. So here's the aftermarket report from Briefing. Major stock market averages started the day on a mixed and uneventful note, and that's pretty much how they traded the rest of the day. There are plenty of storylines which we'll introduce shortly, but there just wasn't any conviction on the part of buyers or sellers outside of some individual stock stories. I think the music is a little distracting. We'll put that back on in a second. Including today's action, the S&P 500 is basically unchanged since last Friday. That's actually not a bad sign, considering the S&P has surged 3.2% in the first 2 weeks of trading. The sideways action, therefore, is being deemed a consolidation phase by technical analysts, and perhaps just a boring phase of the rest of us. On Wednesday, the S&P traded in a 6-point range that was skewed mostly to the downside, the bulk of which was seen shortly after the market opened. Some early storylines that triggered the initial downside move include the following. Weakness in Boeing, down $2.60 on the day, and we do see how it's down another, let's call that $1.60, $1.55. Trying to do my math really fast. After 2 Japanese carriers suspended their Dreamliner flights due to safety concerns, news that the World Bank cut its 2013 global GDP growth forecast to 2.4% from 3%, and the muted response to a blowout earnings report from Goldman Sachs, which topped the Capital IQ census estimate by $1.96, and a better-than-expected earnings report from JP Morgan, which topped the Capital IQ census estimate by 20 cents. The market soon found its footing, however, when Apple, up $20.17 on the day, got going in the wake of a bullish call from technical analyst Tom DeMark, who accurately called the slide in Apple back in September when Apple was trading at $700. Denmark's call on CNBC last night was that Apple has bottomed and should run to the $600 area in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so we're going to point to one guy making one comment on one show, and he's the reason Apple rallied $20 today. I always love stuff like that. Apple's strength was a staying factor for the broader market and triggered the outperformance of the Nasdaq versus the other major averages. Still, in a broader context, everything unfolded in moderation today as the Nasdaq gained just 0.2%, while the Dow Jones Industrial Average slipped just 0.2%. In a certain respect, market participants were in deliberation mode, showing little reaction to reports of a terrorist attack on a natural gas facility in Algeria that resulted in 41 hostages being taken, including several Americans. I believe 7 Americans. Oil prices increased 1% to $94.19 a barrel, garnering added support from an EIA inventory report that showed a draw of 950,000 barrels from last week. Commodities overall traded somewhat mixed, although there was broad-based weakness in the industrial metals that coincided with the World Bank's tempered growth outlook. Notably, the CBOE Volatility Index, VIX, down 15 cents, continued its slide, reflecting an ongoing sense that the market isn't going to experience any dramatic moves up or down in the next 30 days. Many observers, though, see the low level of the VIX as a sign of complacency that could be a harbinger of more concerted selling interest for the cash market. For today, there wasn't much concerted selling interest outside of individual stocks like Chipotle Mexican Grill, CMG down $16.38, which issued a fourth quarter earnings warning. And they're not getting into the details here, but I believe Chipotle was down that much. They're mentioning that the food prices are having a greater impact on their bottom line than originally anticipated, which I'm going to have to give credit to guys like Kenko and I want to say Vester, who were talking about food prices last summer, maybe even last spring, and the impact of high food prices going into this year. In fact, I wonder what rice is doing right now. I'm not a trader of those kind of items, but those would be things to take a look at. Or much concerted buying interest for that matter. Volume in the NYSE totaled 600 million shares, with the last hour producing a good chunk of today's trading volume. The technology sector, plus 0.7%, led today's gainers, and it was followed by the energy, 0.3%, and financial, 0.1% sectors. And those percentages were increases. On the flip side, the telecom services sector, down 1.2%, brought up the rear, along with the low-weighted materials and utility sectors. Treasuries held a bid throughout the day, but ended off their highs. The 10-year note finished up 6 ticks, and its yield dipped to 1.82%. Today's economic data featured the CPI, industrial production, and NAHB housing market index. None produced any major surprises, so they were largely overlooked as trading catalysts. The same can be said for the Fed's Beige Book report, which noted all 12 districts are experiencing modest to moderate growth, and that fiscal cliff uncertainties were delaying hiring decisions in a number of areas. Tomorrow's economic lineup includes the initial claims, housing starts, and Philadelphia Fed index reports. On the earnings front, financial names will again be in focus, with Bank of America and Citigroup headlining the reporting activity. So there you have it, the news as it stands. ES now down $1.25 since the opening of the session. It's coming up on 6:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. These stochastics aren't doing a whole lot. Of course, the volume isn't really doing much either. Let's just take a quick peek at the earnings for tomorrow, and we'll wrap things up here, put some tunes on again, let the radio play itself out. And it's Wednesday night, so very likely we should be hearing from our friend Raymaker later tonight when he gets off of his shift. So if you're interested in calling in or chatting, just get in the members room and reach out to Rainmaker. I'm sure he'd love to have you on. Okay, so here's the day trader alerts that we're getting from DTRS. See Boeing kind of leveling off there, trading at 72.72. And today is January 16th. Earnings after the close today, we had, Bank of the Ozarks. We talked about eBay, Kinder Morgan, Sallie Mae. I didn't really hear a lot from them in the news. And earnings before the open tomorrow. Let's see what we got. We have Bank of America, BAC. There's Brunswick Bank and Trust, BBT, BlackRock, BLK, Citigroup, which is C, Charlie C, Fastenals tomorrow, FAST, Freeport McMoran, FCX. We have Hubble, HUB. There's quite a few tomorrow. Morgan Stanley, MS. These are all before the open tomorrow? My goodness. PNC Financial Services, PNC, and United Health Group, UNH, and plenty of others. So check out that report that comes in every morning from the DTRS alerts. If you aren't already receiving those, then just send in an email to dtrs@daytradingradio.com and ask Brian to get that set up for you. I believe there's a way to find it in your own settings, but if not, you can find it in there. Screen Tam, am I supposed to take that personal? Would you rather? Maybe what I'll do is I'll move my computer into my kitchen and get my webcam going. You prefer that? And James, you know what? I'm usually not around on Wednesdays, so I don't know too much about the format of his show. But I think he pretty much opens. I'm just busting your screen, Dan. Calm down. I think he pretty much just opens the air and lets the conversation go where it goes. So if you want to call him up early enough in the show, you might be able to get his attention to look at something in particular. So what can I say? Give it a try. Okay. So that's going to do it for tonight's show. This is Briguy on DayTradingRadio.com. I'm going to... Screen Tan, you would love to drive down here. You got such a nice car. It's going to be a nice smooth ride, although the weather's a little crappy right now. And let's see, I got another text message here. Let's see what a bad idea that was, putting out my phone number. And, all right, buddy. I appreciate that, Johnny York. So we'll do our best to get this a little more organized in the future and work out a schedule so we can give you a variety of shows here. And I'm trying to line up some guests, so if you guys have any contacts out there and you got some guests that could call in, give us some perspectives on could just be on one particular chart. Maybe they're an expert on eBay and they want to tell us what's going on there. We've got the car show. If somebody wants to talk about cars, we could set something up, have you call in. We'll take a look at some car stocks and see what they're doing, see what the latest releases are, and make it a little interesting. So we'll see how it goes. You guys have any feedback? You've got my info there. You can reach out to me and give me your thoughts. And if you want to send me emails, just don't abuse it, please. Don't start sending me spam. I have to start changing my address. I appreciate it. So we'll put some tunes on. I don't know if you guys are big blues fans, but you know what? In honor of Mr. James Madison Frazier, maybe we'll put on something else. This is dedicated to you, my friend, Dr. Gas.
Lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you were. Oh man, look at my life. 24 and there's so much more. Live alone in a paradise that makes me think of two. Love lost, such a cost. Give me things that don't get lost, like a coin that won't get tossed, rolling home to you. Doesn't mean that much to me, to mean that much to you. I've been first and last. Look at how the time goes past. But I'm all alone at last, rolling home to you. Look
Okay, great tune there, and I didn't really mean to come back on the air, but I remembered that I want to stop the recording on this. That way it doesn't crash my computer trying to record for the next bunch of hours. If I turn my head, you hearing any noises? Is that coming through? Yes, no? No? Ignoring me? Go back to talking about shoveling snow. Alright. Yeah, I'm getting some good feedback from you guys about some noises coming over. I think they were, might have to get the screwdriver out, tighten the nuts on the bolts of my neck. Alright, let's pause the video here for a second. I'm going to just stop the recording and then I'll put it back on. Thanks, guys.